Google reviews, Yelp, Facebook. We're constantly looking at those testimonials. And so you might be wondering, how do I use testimonials to turn that prospect into a client? And that is what we are here today to explore. How can we make those successes into clients? Hi, my name is Tiffanie Kellog, and I am excited to be joining you today to talk about this whole idea of getting our clients into being prospects. And joining us live, we have Tommi, who is going to be my co-conversation gentleman today. So hi, Tommi, welcome. We are here live streaming. Glad to have you joining us.
How are you doing?
And we're excited to be talking about turning testimonials into prospects. I'm sorry, turning testimonials, or using testimonials to turn those prospects into clients. So how can we begin to even do that?
Big question. The first thing is to ask them. I would say most people don't even start with that. They're nervous. You know, they have this thought in their head that'll go, "Oh, but what if they say no? Does that mean our friendship is over? Does that say they'll reject me and never want to do business out of the awkwardness?" And the answer is no. That's it. You know, that's the long and short of it.
So how do you recommend that we ask?
Show a little vulnerability. Everybody is trying to. The problem with, and ironically, I probably cite another name now, obviously, you know, but for a while, people wanted to be Elon Musk, Dan Locke, and they wanted to present themselves in that corporate manner. You know, I'm Mr. Big, but that doesn't make you somebody that people want to help necessarily. Why don't you just say you've got a growing business? You know, say I'm trying to build this business up. It would really help me do that if people knew that I can be relied upon. You know, would you be willing to give me a share some your honest feedback over Zoom, recorded or film Zoom call to help me do that? And you'd be surprised that more people are willing to help you if you are vulnerable.
Do you find that people are more likely to be willing to do video nowadays than they were pre-COVID? Since we've gotten on Zoom and everybody's kind of used to Zoom now, do you find people are more apt to say yes?
Yes, but not necessarily because they're scared of video. It's because they're familiar with tech. That's the big one. I did this, did this thing in person for non-stop for many years. I only did one Zoom filming prior to the pandemic. We thought it was great. And then we went, and then I just thought, well, it's the Mac. It's not going to be showing any interest in that after it all goes back to normal, you know. But to my surprise, the only thing people cared about was, you know, how people were talking about them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm on the wrong webcam at the moment just because of how I jumped in, and this looks ghastly. But
oh no,
most webcams are pretty decent. So as long as you're clear on the video, and as long as you're clear on your sound, people just care about how they're being talked about.
gotcha.
You know, and the crucial thing to add is that people respond better to being asked for their honest opinion than to do a testimonial, because that just feels like you're doing a tap dance on, for the sake of selling somebody's business, and that scares people.
All right. And why do you feel that video testimonials are more powerful than those written testimonials?
Because I can hear you. I can see your eyes, which is the one thing we use to build trust in this world. And we can read body language, and without that, it is hard to tell if something is genuinely honest. I won't knock written testimonials entirely. I will myself will be building up my my website with Google reviews and LinkedIn reviews and whatnot. They have a currency. I think they have more currency in volume, but at the same time, and also I have to say, you can still get across a lot of character and personality in written form. But when you see somebody on camera and you see how they are, what do you call it? You see how they're looking, how they're coming across in their body language. You have a better confidence if they're being genuine or not.
Gotcha. So what tips do you have for people if they are going to be doing some video testimonials? whether they're the ones shooting the video testimonial for someone else, or if it's, hey, I'm trying to get my clients to give me those video testimonials, because we want to keep in mind we're going to be using those testimonials to help turn the prospects into the clients.
This sounds, I do apologize. Could you repeat that again, just so I fully grasped it? And in the meantime,
yes. What do we want to make sure that when we have that video testimonials, what are some key points for us to make sure that, okay, we did this or we did that, we avoided this? What are some of your tips for creating powerful video testimonials?
Give me a second just to fix this camera-related disaster.
No problem. That's the joy of tech, y'all. Sometimes we do have it happen where tech doesn't want to be our best friend, and that's life nowadays.
Tell me about it. That's better, isn't it? I might fade in or out once or twice. So do forgive the chaotically messy office. So the key points, as before, ask for their opinion. Ask for their opinion. Ask for feedback. Take the pressure off them. Let them know they're not there to sell you. Let them know that they're there to share how they felt about the service, and they can say what they want. Most of the time, nearly all the time, they will say, fantastic, brilliant, happy, but make sure that the pressure is not on them to, perform. Use Zoom. Teams, there's people who are fans of it, but when you're recording a testimonial to somebody who's not familiar with, doing these things before, most people don't use it. And so the tech is going to be overwhelming and complex and distressing. That would be my second point. Record it in dual screen, not, what's the word, speaker view, as they call it. Because if you do that and somebody starts talking after you've asked the question, they're going to have your face for a few seconds, and that is not good for an edit,
Yeah. I always try and mute myself. Like if I'm recording somebody, I'm like, I'm going to ask you the question. Please repeat the question back to me and then answer it. So that way I can mute myself, and then I'm like, the camera is going to be on them. I'm going to be quiet for the time, so we have that view.
Yeah, I agree.
The camera's still bothering you, so I want to share something with the folks while you fix your camera. I think
thank you.
the format that I love to use when we do testimonials is pretty simple. It's three things. Where were you before the product or service, the product or service that you used, and where are you now? So where were you before? Product or service that you used, where are you now? And when you're able to do it in that way, I think it makes it easier for people to really get the oomph of what it is that you're sharing, because they see before and after, and we know people love that before and after. So that's my favorite formula for testimonials.
I would agree with you a lot on that, and I would drill down a little even further. You can probably get away with asking about 7 or 8 questions to people on a testimonial interview. So, you can get specific about the outcomes, not just ask what were the outcomes, but get specific about them. So, how did you feel about how well you were kept up to date? How do you feel about, the return you're getting compared to what you invested? ROI is the big one for a lot of people. How stress-free was it to deal with us? How did it just, when you got the thing that you were paying for initially, how did you feel? Feel's a good word. It's one of my favorite interviewing questions because people love to talk about their feelings, and actually if you make it so that, and questions are, as I said, again, are really crucial. If you ask good questions or specific questions, people will know what you're trying to find out, and they will want to help you find that out. If you don't give them an idea, they'll feel, oh, what do I say? What do I say? I don't know. And they'll say, was it okay? You'll get that awkwardness. And it's easier just to tell them exactly what you're trying to find out. Not what you're trying to get them to say, because you're not trying to get them to say anything, but what you're wanting, what aspects of service you're trying to learn.
Gotcha. So how long do you typically recommend video testimonials be?
Get them to be under a minute and a half if you're doing it yourself. If you're hiring a pro, If you're hiring a professional and they're asking a lot more than 8 questions, you can probably afford to make it up to 2 minutes. But a minute and a half is the absolute limit.
Okay.
Because
and do you find that that's like the limit, but you're better off with 30 or 45 seconds or 15 seconds now that we're in this TikTok world?
Depends on where you're showing it. I mean, put a bit of context here, right? Who's your audience? Your TikTok audience is not going to be the same as your website viewing audience. We network, right? We get a lot of business through the relationships we have with other people. They're going to watch a video that we give them longer than somebody going.
Gotcha.
Right? Different context. TikTok, really short. But to be honest, TikTok might not be as high ticket a sales thing as places elsewhere. I find stuff like that places like TikTok are more useful for people like us, who, B2B service providers, for kind of just keeping in the hearts and minds of people rather than making an immediate sale.
Okay.
Or to get them to check us out in more depth, check out our website, download our freebie, just to nudge them into our little, I hate the word pipeline, outside of Super Mario, but some platforms like your website, LinkedIn, they're for people to check you out, BNI profiles, whereas, others, there might be places where they're just, you're just trying to remind people you exist, and different people end up on different platforms. There's no one bullet anymore to be. It's, some people are there, some people are here, and you have to spread yourself a little bit thin. Not necessarily where you're posting all the time, but just where you have at least put your testimonials, because you never know how many people might find you.
So I could have like my full-length testimonial video that's 90 seconds. It's on my website. And then I take some highlights from that to make into a YouTube short video. And I take a sentence highlighter, like super small, for a quick TikTok reel, perhaps. I don't even know if that's what they're called on TikTok. I'm not there yet. I'm not cool enough for TikTok. I'm just figuring out reels on Instagram. But we could take that same thing and multi-purpose it, yeah?
Yeah, rehash it. I mean, an interview often goes on longer. The 2-minute video often ends up being from 5 minutes, or maybe not, depends. Most of the interviews I do with clients, because a lot of them are coaches, and a lot of the stuff that gets talked about with coaching is abstract in nature. So you have to ask a lot of questions to get real outcomes. So you're whittling down from 45 minutes. But even if you're doing them yourself and it's for just a local plumber, there's going to be nuggets of gold that are too short that are too long for the main video to put in, but you don't want to throw them away. So that could make a good social media clip. That the interview itself is gold. You could transcribe it or take parts out in the written form and then use it in your copy, in your graphic quotes, when you do pictures and it's got 5 stars and this is what the person said.
Yeah.
I see people doing that, and I have to say, if you're gonna quote somebody from your testimonial in a written form, put the name on it. Unless there's no way you can get away with it, because I see a lot of people doing that, and it just looks like, well, you could have made that up. It's extremely beige.
Gotcha. And I guess you could even say, here's the testimonial, the little cute social media image with the sentence, but here's a link to the full testimonial as well, if they wanted to see it, just kind of, here's the backup. There you go.
You've improved upon it. Yeah. Do you want a job?
I like to take the video testimonials, yes, and do the transcription, though I do find that sometimes they need to be edited. What people say versus what people would write isn't always exactly the same. So sometimes we have to do a little tweaking, always with the permission of the person that was the speaker, but it gives us the opportunity to capture it, video and written. I find it's easier to start with the video and then you've got the written there. So definitely love that aspect of it.
Yeah, and not everybody speaks Yorkshire, so you've got to be careful what's translating.
So how do we then take these videos to help us turn our prospects into paying clients?
It depends what stage you meet them. Throw me an example. When's the last time you had a sales meeting or you got a sales meeting? How did you get it? Was it a referral?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Yeah, pretty much everything I get is from referral.
Okay, and when they come to you, are they already like vastly invested in working with you and just trying to get over the line, or are they got a few things to figure out in their heads?
It depends. It depends on how well my referral source did their job. A lot of times it's like, okay, come, they're ready. But sometimes people refer and they're like, Tiffanie, who are you and what do you do? So it does vary on where they're at in the buying process.
Well, I wouldn't take any risks. If they're coming for a sales call rather than a networking call, you've got to be very specific. Those two are not the same
Two
things.
different things.
Yeah. If they're coming from a networking call, it's a different kettle of fish. If it's a sales call and they're coming to think of maybe I should work with her, maybe I should not, send the video before and just say, look, if you want to know more about what I do for people, here's the easiest way to look at it, right? And when they come in having seen your client, it's much likely to be a conversation less about prove it, prove yourself to me. Not that you'd want to work with people necessarily who do that, but you know where I'm coming from. And more about how can you help me? Because as you know, right, you can name any example in business, the best restaurant, the best coach, right? Or the best coaches, the best lawyers. But when you know that they're the best, you don't go on, prove that you can be my lawyer. Do you know what I mean? You just go, look, whatever it takes, how much money do you want, right? We've got an ice cream stand around the corner from where I live, right? Queues around the block. Nobody says, prove it to me, you're the best. They see a queue and they add to the queue, right? So show it in advance, but maybe they didn't see it the first time, or maybe they need to see it again. So when you send an invoice or a quote, send it again and make sure that they have seen it. And that way you'll know that, and it's always a matter of percentages. Some people are at 20, some people are 50% working with 70. But let's say a video adds 50% more credibility, or more chance they're going to work with you. You're getting some people over the line and others closer.
So we're almost using the videos as a way to help more quickly build our know, like, and trust. Or BNI, we talk about our VCP. So we're using those videos kind of as steps to help people trust us more.
And also handpick your clients. I think some people are in hustle mode and we think everybody's got to work with us, right? Or pick me, right? But we should be picking our clients. We don't want to work with people who do our editing. And often when we do choose people to work with people who do our editing, as the English would say, we end up later on feeling like we that Faust made a better deal. It doesn't always work out. So, client choice as much as anything.
Gotcha. So now I know you work with people to help capture video testimonials from their clients, because not everybody's comfortable with like, okay, I'm on Zoom, let me interview you, all of that. So tell us a little bit about your process when you work with clients.
Well, first we've got to find out the story. Well, even before that, we've got to find out who's a good fit. Because I've had occasions where people have tried to suggest somebody to work with and they'd not been working with them for very long. They'd not seen enough long-term results. You don't want to get into that. You need people who've seen, especially when you're hiring a professional, you're putting money into it. So you want to see them talking about long-term outcomes. Because the longer you work with somebody, the more you're showing that you can be trusted for the longer term. And that's what people want to buy into. They're not buying a product, they're buying a relationship in many respects. So first thing is find out who's a good fit. Once you've got that, so get the story behind it before the call. I usually at least get them to share that script, use that script I told you about, show a little vulnerability, get people to say yes, because you've got to get them to agree. If they say no, ask them if they'll do audio. Because often it's, I don't want to appear on camera. I don't want to do it. Some people, they need to step up, but to be honest, and they're not being good-natured enough and doing enough give back. But a lot of the time, people do get PTSD about the idea of being seen in public on the screen. So for those people, you can say to them, would you do an audio instead? And some of them will do it. And I would say out of the three things, like eyes, body language, voice. Voice is the number one. I mean, those two, the other two are far behind, but the voice is the one thing that can help tell a person who's being genuine and not, and can give the information in a way that you can read and understand it. That's why we listen to podcasts. That said, I wouldn't want to do without the video if I could. Sorry about that. I need to buy a new webcam, to be honest. But you know where I'm coming from. So that's the next thing. Send them some information, the link, some guidance on how to, where to sit, bright spit, somewhere like yourself, just plain background, clear audio, use headphones. I often advise people get a mic headset just in case, because then it filters out a lot of noise. One thing I really do like about Zoom is it filters a lot of the background stuff out,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just learned about Zoom. They have a setting of how much you want to filter. And I did a summit last week, and one of our presenters ended up in a different location than he was planning on. And he's like, "Can you hear the background stuff?" And I'm like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Look, go into Zoom." And like, he went in and put it on high filtration, and like, you couldn't hear any of the background noise. And I'm like, "Whew, thanks for the technology to make our lives easier."
That might be its best asset, or the unsung hero side of it. The amount of stuff that people have had going on, and I don't want to kind of encourage it, but sometimes you end up in a situation where people can't go anywhere else and they won't do it anywhere else. And you have to get that testimonial where you've got them, otherwise they might disappear. So it is brilliant for that. So you've got the stage set. They're sat in a place with enough brightness. If their webcam is terrible, mine's on and off today. To be honest, next time I'm just going to probably get a different webcam or use my phone. And this is the thing: if the webcam's terrible, you can send them a device for about 10 quid, £10 that can prop their phone up. So it's like there's a grip and it just stays here and never leaves.
My ring light has one of those, and turn off the light so you can't, because it's bright. My ring light has one, super easy.
Exactly that.
I mean, I don't know that I really don't need a light much, but I mean, it's a little different. But for those of you that are debating a light, I guess I can make myself bigger too. If you're debating a light, so this is the light that I have as I'm knocking stuff around. It's upside down right this moment, because I have it on a boom right behind me. Because my lighting right now, natural light's not too bad, but I find that ring light just adds a little bit extra.
It's brilliant. That will solve the problem, because most phones record better. I mean, to be honest, we used to buy a phone and use the webcam or the camera as a bonus. Now people are buying cameras with free phones built in.
Yeah, the whole reason I want a new, because I'm old iPhone 8, and I think it's 14 now. The only reason I need a new iPhone is I want the new camera.
Yeah, that's it. And to the point where if you film them on Zoom, you get good quality footage, and you get good sound as well. So often that beats most webcams. I would say MacBooks are pretty good with their cameras. The one that drives me crackers is the detachable Microsoft tab, like laptop tablet.
Oh yeah.
And some of those have got appalling webcams. It looks like Lego. But as long as, once the stage is set, you just tell them when they're going to record. You remind them there's no pressure on them. You're just asking for opinions. You ask the questions. If they mumble and they don't give a useful, answer of any kind at all, you can just say, "Oh, great. Can you tell me more about that?" And they will most of the time. People just don't ask, especially the Brits. They don't want to offend people. But you can just say, "Tell me, oh, great. Can you tell me more about it?" Sometimes people will have a block and they won't want to go down the tunnel any further. And if it's a sensitive matter, don't. A lot of the time, these things are sensitive matters, and they're, you have to tease these things out of them, whatever the story is. And then afterwards, you just make sure it's recorded. You have it set to, as I said, gallery view as opposed to speaker view, and then make sure you know where it's saved, because a lot of people will, leave it in the deep recesses of their computer, and usually it's in the documents folder if you're using, Windows. But make sure you know where it's going, and then back it up 3 times. One is on your computer, one is a physical detachable drive, and the third one is a cloud.
Gotcha. Yeah, if you've got it, you don't want to lose it. That's for sure. If you finally did it. So how often do you think people should be adding testimonials to their arsenal of testimonials?
I'm aware that if I say, I'm aware that if I give them too much for their workload, depending on where they are in the business, they will feel overwhelmed and give up.
Gotcha.
But I think people are treating this as optional. It's not optional. It's essential, because even if you're busy, are you busy with the right people? Right? How much of your time is spent doing client follow-up? You know, are you charging enough? Can you persuade people that you're worth more money and raise your rates? You know, a lot of the reason people don't pay as enough as we want is because we haven't proved it yet. So if we can get the proof, we can up our rates. We can work less and devote more to the clients we have. So my answer to that would be every time you finish a decent job. Gotcha. And then following up every so many months, set an interval for yourself. 6 months after working with every client, check in. How are you doing? Phone them up. Happy call. You know, how are you getting on? You know, and if they say we're doing really well, really happy, and they're really enthusiastic, ask them, look, I'm trying to grow my business. Would you be willing to share some feedback over a film Zoom call?
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. So Tommi can definitely help y'all with getting these testimonials, capturing them, putting them together, all of that. Tommi, if people are looking to get in touch with you, let them know how to do that.
Easiest way, LinkedIn. I'm never off it. I'm probably going to go see a doctor about that soon enough, but I will respond.
And so if you're looking for Tommi on LinkedIn, I have his name there so you can do your searching. Yes, LinkedIn is a powerful way to do that. And you can put testimonials on LinkedIn as well. You can get, I don't know, can you do video testimonials on LinkedIn nowadays, or is it just written?
No, you can you just upload them sorry, I'll answer that. You can post them, you know, just like you would any regular post. You can share a link as a part of your featured content. Everybody on LinkedIn can feature some content. I'm sure you've done that yourself. So you can just feature a YouTube video, or you can feature an existing post, which might be a video you've uploaded.
Gotcha. Excellent. All right. Well, so go check out Tommi on LinkedIn, as you definitely want to have more and more and more video testimonials. One of the things that I created is I actually have a playlist on my YouTube channel just for success stories. I probably need to get in here and update a little bit, but I've created some of my testimonials, put them in a playlist, and I have had people that have reached out to me and said, oh my gosh, Tiffanie, you have so many testimonials on LinkedIn. On YouTube. That's awesome.
Can I mention one thing about that?
Yeah.
If you have gotten so many testimonials that you can't expect your audience to look through them all, you know, do a highlights reel. Take the best bits out of every 6 to 8, maybe, you know, at a very maximum, and then just make them into one little video, 2 minutes long, whatever, and just send that.
I love the idea of the highlight reel with, you know, and there's more if you want them. I can't imagine that anybody actually goes to my YouTube channel and looks at it, but I've had people comment before, wow, you've got a lot. And I'm like, okay, thanks. So we can use those video testimonials. We can use all testimonials to help get the prospects to turn into clients. Anything you want to leave our viewing audience with, Tommi, before we wrap up today?
That YouTube channel you mentioned that you might think that nobody's watching, people do see it. If you ask people to check it out or subscribe, they will. So go around your audience and just say, you know, would you, you know, feel free to subscribe if you want. I've got a channel. Some will, and then those are the people who might catch it one day and refer you.
You never know. Awesome. I love it. Well, Tommi, I want to say thank you so much for being here with us as we explore this idea of video testimonials and how we can use it. Thanks, everybody, for being here watching this week. Next week, we are going to talk about why networking isn't working, maybe, and how we can make it work a little bit better. So thank you so much, Tommi, for being here with us today. Thanks, those of you in the audience, for watching. Happy networking, y'all.
Thank you for the